Hello everyone, my name is Shama. I'm the program director here at Girls and Geese. We are back for yet another one of our live interactive Q&As with your favorite black belts. Today we have Nattie Boss on. She's a phenomenal black belt. Not only is she an accomplished competitor, she's also a holistic performance coach. She's a registered dietitian. She owns her own business called Body by Boss, LLC. And she is just a wealth of knowledge. Yay! Thank you so much for being on today. I gave you a little bit of an intro, but please introduce yourself. Let's get to know you a little bit better. I just kind of skimmed the surface.
Yeah, you pretty much covered it. I'm Nattie Boss. Hi, everybody, for coming on here. Put your questions in the comment box. I'm a holistic performance coach. I'm a black belt with 6 blades. I received my black belt back in September 2022 and on the podium at Master Worlds, actually. And I've competed since then numerous times at black belt. I'm currently pregnant. So I am a mama of 1 so far, and I have another boy coming in April.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm a very active competitor. I really work with jiu-jitsu women in optimizing their health and performance, utilizing a holistic approach. And as Shama said, I have a business called Body by Boss, and that's where I do all of my coaching under. We have self-paced programs. We have a breathwork site for those who want to get into breathwork, which is a big passion of mine, and integrating into jiu-jitsu to help you just regulate your nervous system and be able to just improve your overall well-being as well. And then we have our live coaching programs as well. And I have a podcast. So my podcast is the Empowered Athlete Podcast. And I would definitely recommend that you check that out because we release episodes every Monday. And it's a great free resource for all of you guys.
Awesome. Well, you are very busy. Well, congratulations on baby number 2. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me, how did you get started in jiu-jitsu? What led you down this path?
Yeah, so I was an athlete my whole life. I did Taekwondo when I was little, got my black belt there, and then I wanted to venture out into trying something else. I originally was interested in capoeira, and the academy that I reached out to said that their capoeira kind of school shut down. It was like an adjunct program. So they invited me to join jiu-jitsu instead. And so I said, I have no idea what it is, but I'll give it a shot. And I took the first class, the intro lesson, and I fell in love with it. It was exactly what I wanted and needed. And basically, being a high level competitor in Taekwondo, I came in with high expectations for myself of being able to basically handle anyone that came at me. And I quickly learned that was not the case, and that jiu-jitsu was a different animal. And I was getting submitted and tapped in that first lesson. And for me, that lit a fire under me to really just sign up because I was like, this is unacceptable that I'm, an athlete, fit, high level in martial arts athlete, and I'm still like, I am like a deer, like that was just born. Like I didn't know what to do. And I was like, I am going to master this thing for as long as it takes me. It took me well over probably 12 years. I started in 2010. I was consistent pretty much the whole time. I was in college when I first started. So that first 4 years was a little bit more inconsistent because I only went during the holiday seasons that were off and summer. And that's when I doubled down on my training. And then once I graduated, I did it full time and owned an academy with my husband, who was my coach. And now he's my husband. And now we live in Texas. We started off in Philly. And we moved to Texas 3 years ago. So we've been at a 6 Blades location since then and been competing and doing the whole thing.
So how do you do it all? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of women on that are tuning in today that are like, okay, where does she find the time to do this? So what's the secret here?
Yes. So I'm a really big fan of time and energy management. And that's really what it comes down to. Really prioritizing what is most important to you and assessing based off the different seasons of your life and just making adjustments accordingly. So I've really nailed it down over the past 3 years to a science, being a new mom, which is a new venture for me just past 2020. I had to find that work life jujitsu balance, because being a competitor is a huge goal of mine. You know, I'm a full-time competitor when I'm not pregnant, in addition to the business that I have. And it really helps that my business is around jujitsu because it just keeps me in that world. But when it comes to my business, I outsource and have a team alongside myself, and I stick to what I'm good at, which is the coaching, the content creation, and then I outsource all the other, tasks that need to be done in a business to those who are just better suited for it. And that frees up my time and energy so that I'm putting my energy into the things that I'm good at and that I like to do. I really am a big believer in doing what you love, and I don't do anything that I don't like. And if there is a skill that I'm not good at, I assess, is this a skill that I want to develop? And if not, I'm just going to simply outsource it because I don't want to learn it. And there's people that just thrive in a different type of things. For instance, like spreadsheets and organization. Like that's something I can do if I put my mind to it, but it's not something that I'm very, feel a lot of joy around.
Yeah.
So somebody it prefers to, prioritize that, and they find joy in doing all of those little medial things. And so give that to them and they are happy and I'm happy. And then when it comes to jujitsu, it comes down to, what do I believe is the amount of time I need to spend in the gym to still see progress and to reach my performance and competition goals. And then I basically just make sure I don't overcommit and then utilize that other time to do family stuff. So making sure that I have that balance throughout the week where my family is prioritized, and then my jiu-jitsu is prioritized, so therefore all of my fronts are covered, and I have that nice just balance so that I'm not feeling burnt out and nobody's feeling neglected. So that's a huge thing of what I focus on, is just time and energy management, and it has adjusted over the years. Obviously before kids I was full-time competitor, so I did jiu-jitsu like a lot more, but now that I have kids and I have to adjust to that and my husband's new career and things like that, it was just an adjustment to figure out like what's going to work for all of us so that we can all reach our goals and do it in a way where nobody's feeling
Yeah.
compromised.
No, that's super important that everybody feels valued and, appreciated and yeah, and not stretching yourself thin, because burnout is real, in jujitsu as well as in life,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit. I know a little bit about your story, and I would love to have you kind of share it. But you've kind of dived into this world of, diet, nutrition, mind, body, spirit. How it all connects, and breath work. What kind of led you down that path to exploring that? And tell me how that has kind of changed your life. That's where, and then we can talk about how you're helping to change other people's lives.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see. I've always known I've wanted to do nutrition. So that was something I knew that was like a big passion and purpose of mine from a very young age, around sixth grade. And I basically embarked on my own health and wellness journey and had a very positive experience. And that was kind of what kickstarted everything. And it's very common that when you get into health and wellness, you pretty much start on the surface level. So you're either going to start in fitness or you're going to start in nutrition. And that's where I started. I started in nutrition, I started in fitness, having an athletic background. It was really easy for me and seamless for me to kind of dive into that. But what I noticed as I got into that was that true transformation really goes beneath the surface. And I was always on a quest to gather as many tools as I could and provide as much value as I could to other people and to myself, of like, how can I just optimize myself as much as possible? I am obsessed with human optimization. So nutrition and fitness cover kind of the surface level. And what I found was that there goes deeper roots. So then there's mindset, and then there's the embodiment piece of the subconscious beliefs that we're holding that are stuck in our body, the trauma from our past experiences that's stuck in our body that is influencing the beliefs that we're having that are either hindering us or helping us towards our goals. And so as I embarked on my own journey and went deeper and deeper within, I just realized and gathered more tools that led me to deepen my practice. So it started off very surface level of basic nutrition, basic fitness. And then what I realized was there is certain blocks that just naturally come up and limiting factors. And if you don't go deeper to understand where they're coming from, then you're always going to just be kind of maxed out. You're going to reach a certain level of potential and you're never going to be able to surpass it. And it's not until you go deeper and really, really work with yourself on a deep level where you can start to reach that limitless potential. And so that's what led me to explore breath work when that first came into my life in 2019. I didn't know what it was. I literally just had a gut feeling. Like I saw something on Instagram and something just told me this is your next step. And it was really hard to explain to other people because I didn't know what it was. So, they're like, you're dropping all this money, you're, going and doing this 10-month program. And I was like, I think I'm going to just learn how to breathe and teach people how to breathe. Like, and I knew that breathing was important for jiu-jitsu because I, was doing jiu-jitsu for many years at that point. But that really helped me develop a deeper connection to myself. It helped me heal from my own past conditioning and traumas and beliefs and just opened my world to more of that mind, body, spirit connection that I was like, wow, this really is the piece that leads to that deep transformation that I'm looking for within myself. And then I'm a big believer in that we can only help people at the level at which we help ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it was important for me as, one of my core values is integrity. So that means if I don't feel fully embodied in something that I'm like doing, then I don't feel qualified to teach it. And it doesn't matter what kind of certifications I have. If I'm not, for instance, I could be a dietitian on the surface, but if I'm struggling with an eating disorder, I feel that I don't have any right to be giving information to other people because I still have a lot of work to do on myself. So that was a big catalyst for healing my eating disorder that I had many years ago, because I was so at war with myself of like wanting to help others improve their health and nutrition, but yet struggling with myself. And I was like, what matters first is I need to get my shit together. And then once I do, then I'll feel more embodied and more confident in being able to teach somebody else because I actually am on the other side of it now. And so I do that with everything that I do, every new thing that I'm learning with breath work. That was something I started teaching, but it wasn't till I was really into my program and done a lot of the work on myself and understood it on a deeper level and on an embodiment level where I realized, okay, now I'm qualified on a deeper level to be able to actually teach this to somebody else. And I'm not just regurgitating information.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really big issue
Yeah.
with just like many different industries. It's like people learn something like cognitively and they just read it in a book and then they try to teach it. And the reason why it doesn't land with people is because people can sense energy. People can sense when somebody is grounded in the material and really knows what they're saying versus somebody just regurgitating it. And I think that's also where a lot of imposter syndrome comes up, because of course you feel like an imposter if you didn't actually master what you're teaching, because you're so fearful of getting a response or getting a question that you don't know the answer to because you didn't actually go through the experience.
Yeah, it's like you got to practice what you preach, right?
100%. That is a mantra for me. And so anything that I don't feel that I've practiced and mastered, I really walk on tiptoes on sharing it with other people, because I'm like, I have to still kind of get to a place where I feel really resolved with this. And then I can really speak from a place of wisdom and not just knowledge.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at all these people, these motivational speakers, these healers, these people that are in these industries at the highest level, a lot of them have gone through some really hard times. And so they've had to, like life throws things at you sometimes where you're forced to face your reality, like below the surface. Like there's no like just sugarcoating it anymore. You can't pretend. You can only fake it till you make it for so long. You got to make it at some point.
Yeah, I'm a really big believer in helping people realize that, like you said, everybody experiences life. And so everything that's thrown at it and it's different and different intensities and it looks different for different people. But I really believe that you can always find your purpose from your pain. And
100%. 100%.
until you do that, until you start to at least view it from that perspective, that there is something for you in what you're going through, then, that's really the key to be able to come out on the other side, is knowing that everything is happening for you, even in the darkest moments where you're just like, there's no way there could be something positive out of this. Sometimes it's not as clear in the moment. It's not as clear in the moment when you're going through it, but
Mhm.
if you can put your mind in that direction and be open to seeing that silver lining or seeing what the lesson could be, then it will present itself eventually, and then that's the wisdom that you're actually going to gain.
100%. Well, it's like jujitsu, right? It mimics it, right? Jujitsu teaches you to be patient and comfortable when things are uncomfortable, when you're under pressure, when things look hopeless, when you are done. But you know what? If you just persevere, or, you just maneuver, or you listen, or you pay attention, that guidance, that wisdom, that win is there, And I think that's why I think jujitsu is just a phenomenal tool, just like breath work is a phenomenal tool. And so I'm curious, like, tell me more about your business. So now you've done all this work, you feel, that you have this wealth of knowledge, and you want to, execute your will, your desire to help others. What is it that your business provides? Tell me a little bit more about the services that you guys offer.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things over the years. So our biggest program is going to be our Performance Blueprint program. And this is a group coaching program that I created back in 2018. And its primary goal is to help athletes improve their health and performance, utilizing what I call the wheel of performance that encompasses 6 pillars. So it's about teaching not just the information, but helping them integrate habits and new ways of being around training, nutrition, mindset, self-care, recovery, and sleep. So it's a holistic approach to optimizing health and performance. And we take women through this through the course of 8 weeks. There's been lots of iterations of it over the years, but right now it's an 8-week program. That's what we found is the sweet spot for just helping people with change and commitments of other people as well in doing programs. I also have the Empowered Athlete Academy, which is my trauma-informed coaching program. This is focused on breathwork and somatics. This is the more healing aspect of what I do. That is on hold right now for this year because I felt called to do more deeper one-on-one work. So right now I'm doing one-on-one work that is somatically focused, breathwork focused. I just felt really called to go deeper with people for a longer period of time rather than a group container. So that's also what I'm doing. I also do private lessons online and in person from a jiu-jitsu perspective. And then when it comes to, again, my real passion is in the deep transformation stuff. So that's where a lot of the coaching element stuff comes in. But our programs still have so much value, and I didn't want to do away with the information and the programs that we had that were live, because I believe, being a dietitian, I have the expertise, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. So we converted a lot of our old live coaching programs to self-paced programs. So now these are something that you can purchase and literally have lifetime access to and revisit as many times as you want, so that you are just empowering yourself and gaining the knowledge. I really believe in going over programs numerous times because we're always evolving.
Mm.
And so it's very common. We have had numerous people take our programs that had already taken them, because where they were in their headspace when they first started and when they first did it is a completely different spot than where they were 2 years later. And so it opened their mind and gave them a lot of tools to start with, but they still weren't maybe in the right space to make the change that they thought they were ready for. And it wasn't until just being exposed and doing that work for 2 years where they realized, you know what, I actually want to do this again because I'm a completely different version of myself. And I feel like I have more capacity to actually understand exactly what it is that you're offering. And so that's not uncommon. And so same thing with the self-paced program. So we have Mastering Your Macros. So this is, again, the nutrition that's surface level, but very detailed and in depth, of teaching you how to fuel your body as an athlete. So it really just breaks down. It's very scientific. It's trainings that I provided, that I created, and it's about, how to calculate what your calorie needs are, your macro needs, meal timing, and that program really emphasizes improving your relationship to food as well, because those go hand in hand. And that's a big part of my work. We also have a confidence program, which is a self-paced program that is specifically for helping you build confidence in competition. And so this is built off the framework that I call the competition triad. And so this program will dive deep into training. So like just fine-tuning what your training needs to look like for competition, nutrition. So again, diving into the nutritional aspect in preparing for competition, and then mindset. So specifically going through mindset work and embodiment work and breath work to help you in that self-trust and that self-belief that is necessary and required in order to start seeing more success in competition and winning ultimately more competitions. Because if you're doing that program, your ultimate goal is to win because you're trying to win more competitions because you're a competitor. And so it's in my experience where that triad is really the key for you to physically and mentally be prepared to be able to enter a competition. So we have that. And then we also have our signature HIIT program. And this is just a fitness program that's high intensity interval training. And you have lifetime access to this. And we have hundreds and hundreds of athletes who have this program. And basically, this is something I created in 2018, where I went through a cut for Worlds, and the program that I created for my cut, I ended up converting into a program because it was really effective. My goal was to lose 10 pounds in 3 months to cut down to a weight that I don't normally do, but I wanted to do it in a sustainable, healthy way. And so everything that I include in that program is exactly the format that I did. And I was like, this is seriously effective. And I'm, like I said, a huge fan of time and energy management. So if I can do a workout program that gets me the body that I want, the athleticism that I want in half the time that I want, then I'm going to be signed up. That's the benefit of HIIT training, is that the workouts are between 20 and 30 minutes. So you don't have to spend hours and hours in the gym on top of jiu-jitsu training, and you're still getting all of the benefits of athleticism, explosiveness, mobility, power, speed, strength. And that's why I really love it. So those are kind of our main offerings. And then we do a lot of adjunct things all throughout the year, such as like master classes. We host a retreat, which this year is sold out and will be happening in April. And that's a pretty small retreat right now. Usually gears around 30 to 35 women. And it's a holistic retreat. So it focuses on everything that we do. I like to kind of encompass it by saying it's the pillars of performance in live time. So it's like everything you can experience. We try to integrate all of the pillars that you can experience in a retreat format in an intimate setting with lots of transformation as well, with the breath work and the journaling and a lot of the other things that we do. So that's kind of the crux of what we do. And then there's a lot of, like I said, offshoot things that I do, like seminars and stuff like that.
Very cool. Well, yeah, you encompassed it all. You got it all. So I'm curious to learn a little bit more about your jiu-jitsu journey. So you were an active competitor before you became a mom. You were competing out there all the time. What are some things that, I guess, what is an experience that you've had in your competitive or just in your jiu-jitsu journey as a whole that has really kind of stuck with you and shaped you into who you are today?
Oh man, there is a lot of moments. I mean, I really am a big believer. If you're not, like, I'm a extremely competitive person, so competition comes natural to me. Like, I love to challenge myself, even though it's scary. I love to put myself in that position and to see what I'm capable of under pressure, and to work through the kinks that come up and the blocks that come up and all of those things. And it's just helped me, in my opinion, evolve so much quicker putting myself in that situation than just being in the dojo. And even if you're not a big competitor, like at least competing once at every belt is something that I really recommend, to just get yourself out of that comfort zone and, help you overcome those fears and just, again, see what you're capable of. I think the worst thing for me is knowing I have potential, but never actually trying for it, and that to me is like, untapped potential. And so there's a lot of different scenarios that have really shaped me over the years. Well, I'll try to think of a few. I think when it comes to, I'll encompass my blue belt as one, because that whole phase of blue belt was a huge kind of learning curve. And so what I noticed the most in retrospect, of course, blue belt was very tough, and tough mentally. Physically, I've never had issues. It's always been mental, and that's really where my breakthroughs have come from. So the blue belt period of my time, what I noticed was I was very guarded and very closed when it came to my fighting. So one of the things I noticed was I didn't open up. I didn't explore and try things when I was competing, and I played the safe route all the time. And that was strictly because of fear of failing. The fear of failing was like one of my biggest like blocks for a long time, and that really happened at blue belt. And I was always so disappointed in myself whether I won or lost, because even if I won, sometimes I would win and my match still wasn't my jiu-jitsu. And that's what I always felt like I walked away disappointed by. I was like, this isn't how I do jiu-jitsu. I just totally played it safe just to get the win because I didn't want to lose. You know, I didn't want to disappoint people. I didn't want to disappoint myself. But like, I don't feel proud of my performance. Like, this isn't how I train in the dojo. And so that whole period was like really working through, you know, the fear of failure and switching a mindset of not trying not to lose, but really fighting to win, you know, and switching that of like deserving to win. And I'm putting in the work and trusting myself. So that was like a big thing with blue belt. And there was one particular match in, I would say, fight to win. So my fight to win title fight. My fight to win title fight was a 4-stripe purple belt. And I was competing a lot at that time. I was competing a lot, like at least 3 times a month, like every weekend. Yeah, it was a super fight. It was traveling for tournaments. And I was noticing I was starting to feel burnt out. I was starting to lose my motivation. And what I noticed a big like influence of that is when you, if you're not a competitor, basically what happens or what is recommended is that if you're preparing for a competition, it's not the time to learn new things. It's the time to really hone in on your A game, which is what people are in, and just work what you plan to execute. And so competing back to back every single week for months, I was starting to feel stagnant, like bored.
Yeah.
Though I was competing and having fun competing, I just felt like my game was just feeling bored. Like I wasn't having fun because I wasn't like exploring and expanding. I didn't have any time to expand my game because I had to just get ready for the next tournament. So I took a little bit of a break and I like really vowed, I was like, where's my, you know, I'm not feeling motivated. I'm not feeling inspired. So let me get back to my roots of why I started jiu-jitsu. You know, and for me, it was, I had so much fun in the beginning when I was a beginner. And as I started to gain more rank and started to take competition really serious, I started to notice that curiosity taking over.
Yeah.
Right? Where it was just like, you know, just go hard. I just got to win. And these are my goals. And I realized like, I haven't been having fun.
Yeah.
So the fight to win title match, I had, my main goal was I need to have fun going into this, especially my first title match. You know, it would be so easy for me to put so much pressure on myself because I'm literally in the spotlight of a super fight and I want the win, but I didn't want to have the pressure that I would put on myself. I've never really been influenced by outside pressure. It's always been internal pressure. And so I was like, I need to have fun. I need to walk away from this performance and I want to be so freaking proud of the jiu-jitsu that I displayed. And so that was my main intention going in there. And when I did that, that was my intention. I did the super fight. I won. I got a submission. I got the belt. And that was such an overwhelming feeling of pride for me and really a turning point in just how powerful the intention of having fun really influences the outcome of the performance.
Oh yeah.
And that was really like a changing moment for me because I was like, oh, wow, like this is the priority moving forward. And ever since then, ever since that, I won a lot of competitions. Like up until that one, I won a lot of competitions. You know, I've had losses, but up until then, I really was on like winning a more consistent streak after the turn of that event, especially at brown and black belts, which, you know, some might think that might be the hardest to win in because the people are more technical and they're just better, right? Because they're higher rank. And so to be able to get more wins at higher level tournaments at those higher belts, that was something that like I was really proud of, and it mattered more to me because nobody really cares about your blue belt match, no offense, but like I had so much pressure on myself at blue belt. Like nobody literally cares about my blue belt.
Everybody's watching you. Everybody. It's like the finals of the Mundial.
So those were some of the defining moments for me of like having fun. And then the last one was really just like trusting myself. And I don't know that it was necessarily a competition specifically, but more so it was when I got my black belt. For me, it was a symbol of I've always like I've never really had imposter syndrome having like when I got promoted, which I know is very common for people. Like, do I deserve this belt? Because I always trusted my coach. Like, again, my coach was my husband, so I had a deep relationship with him. And so I knew that he would never promote me if he never thought I was ready. So when I got promoted, I really trusted that, okay, he believes I'm ready. So I really have two options. I either don't take his word for it, or I take his word for it and I start acting that part and believing that I'm this belt and like doing what's the next step. So when I got my black belt, it really just like helped me. The biggest shift I noticed was this permission to trust myself completely and to trust my jiu-jitsu. And that was the biggest shift. And that really helped me win. I was able to win my first title at IBJJF at black belt, only being 1 month into having my black belt.
That's awesome.
Huge. I've been fighting for titles at IBJJF my entire jiu-jitsu career and always fell short. And then 1 month into my black belt was able to get a Nogi Pan Am title. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. And I think a lot of it came down to just I believed in my technique. I was like, if I'm a black belt, I've also been doing this for 13 years. Like at some point I have to start believing in my shit. Like work for quite a while now. Like self-doubt is like old school. Like there's no room for that anymore. And so just that shift of getting to black belt was just like, okay, like now no more of that self-doubt stuff, no more of that. It's time to just really own your stuff. You know what you're doing. Is there always room for improvement? Are you a white belt again? Yes, in many, many ways. But at the end of the day, like I do know stuff and I've been doing this long enough to start trusting myself. And then going in with that self-trust is really what led me to win many, many matches at black belt since then. My percentage rate at black belt is way higher than any of my other belts as far as winning competitions.
Wow. Yeah. You hit that point. You hit that sweet spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out with one last. For those that are listening, and it's a very broad statement, but if there's any kind of piece of advice you can offer those that are listening today, those that are either maybe starting on their journey or been on their journey for a little bit, maybe going through a hard time or kind of hitting that wall, what would it be? Or for those that are new, why jujitsu or anything, any advice you want to offer? I'm gonna throw it out there.
Yeah, I'll give a few things that come through. So we kind of touched on one, but it's worth reiterating, and that's just make sure you're having fun. Just make sure that you are having fun. I think that's, again, we kind of talked about some of my story and the importance and power of having fun. And coincidentally, the power of play is the theme for my retreat this year because it's really that important. So have fun in your journey. Don't take it too seriously. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Just make sure that you're having fun. Second is learn how to breathe. Breathing really is the first step before technique. Because if you're in the fight or flight, if you're huffing and puffing, if you're just in that, being attacked mode, you are not thinking clearly. You are completely in survival mode. And in jiu-jitsu, we all know at this point, if you've been here, you've heard that it's like chess. And for chess, you need to be cognizant and you need to be a couple steps of your opponent in order to win. And you cannot do that when you're operating from fight or flight. So when we take it a step back even further, how we regulate ourselves is through our breath. So learning how to breathe is so important and really underrated when it comes to jiu-jitsu. So if you're new, especially, start by just controlling your breath in your rolls. And you already don't know a lot. So just whatever you do know, you'll be able to at least be able to call upon a little bit more easier. if you can, just breathe and take that pause for yourself. The next thing is, oh my gosh, this is an important one. Just learn to rest, but not to quit. And we talked a little bit just about how burnout can be a thing and how I lost motivation, right? And so you have to know when to rest and not to quit, right? When we get burnt out, when we get low motivation, when we feel like I'm not making progress, our first instinct is like, is this for me? Is this like, am I cut out for this? Maybe I should just quit. Maybe I should just do something else. No, that's just your body telling you that you just need to take a pause.
Mm-hmm.
So just, and let that be okay. Give yourself permission to rest. Give yourself permission to take a break, and realize that jujitsu is not going anywhere. And the only way jujitsu leads your life is if you quit. But if you rest, you can always come back, and you will most likely feel recharged and more motivated when you come back, because you need that physical and mental break every once in a while to reignite things. Otherwise, you will be run into the ground and you'll start losing that motivation. So this goes for all ranks, but especially if you're new, it's so common to get caught up and swept up in the whirlwind of like training 7 days a week as a white belt, right? As soon as you do it, you get addicted and you're like, I gotta go, 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 go. And then like I see white belts getting injuries. And I'm like, guys, I didn't get an injury. My first serious neck injury last year, was after 12 years of jiu-jitsu. Like, I have people 4 months into jiu-jitsu with ACL tears.
Gosh.
I'm like, guys, this is too much too fast. You gotta, like, this is a habit. This is a new lifestyle, just like anything, which I teach behavior change. So with anything, it's slow, consistent integration that's going to lead to longevity, not doing everything hard and fast at once.
That's what I tell people. Like, jujitsu is not going anywhere. Like, you should be training to train your whole entire life. That is the goal. Not,
Yeah. And then people are training really hard, getting injured, and then their kind of fear is like, I don't know if I could do this the rest of my life. Well, it can be if you just take a step back and realize that you can go at your own pace. That kind of goes hand in hand with the last one. It's like, go at your own pace and work with the lifestyle that you have. Stop comparing yourself to others and all other lifestyles.
100%.
If you're a 45-year-old mom of 3, why are you comparing yourself to a 17-year-old adult athlete who has nothing else to do but train 3 times a day? It doesn't mean that your journey is less than. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make progress. It doesn't mean that you're not going to win competitions. But you need to, like you said in the very beginning, you need to have a reality check of what your actual life is and how is it and what is going to be the best of both worlds for you with your reality. And if you don't accept your reality of what it is, you're just constantly going to be in that FOMO of like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. And then kind of pushing and pushing out of that motivation from fear and just always feeling dissatisfied in the process. So those are some of the biggest pieces of advice that I would tell myself if I was a lower belt. And so I hope you guys take that and, really, really soak it in.
Well, that was a mic drop. No, you nailed it though. I mean, you really did nail it, and that's why I love having you on. I love talking with you. Thank you so much. I'm super proud of you. It's been amazing to watch your journey and to where you're at now, and to see you coming full circle and now helping others, to achieve the best self, basically, is what we're all after, right? And that's what jiu-jitsu is. It's a tool, just like everything else. It's just a tool to help us all to strive to be better people than, what we're capable of, to our fullest potential. That's the goal, right? Is to exist at that capacity.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I look forward to having you on again at some point, doing some work with you. And it's always a pleasure. Like I said, I enjoy talking with you.
You too. Bye, guys. Thank you for having me. Have a great day.